And one more time, hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever it suits for you. We will wait a few minutes, and while we are waiting, let me start with some announcement. In approximately a week, 8 days, in 8 days, I'm starting the demand planning course, and this lecture is a part of the course. So the course contains 10 lectures, and a part of that is in this presentation. So if you ever thought to get a holistic understanding of demand planning management, if you want to boost your knowledge in demand planning, this is a good solution. This is a good opportunity for you. So if you are interested, go on my website and take place. And let's start. Let me share my screen. Can you give me a feedback if you can see the screen? If you can see my presentation? Yes, great. So today we are talking about demand planning meeting, how to start demand planning meeting, and how to build collaboration. Yeah, the most important part in demand planning. But before we are starting, let me briefly introduce myself. My name is Victoria Korolska, and the last 10 years I'm working in the field sales and operational planning and integrated business planning. I have 2 master degrees in economics behind me. My working focus is on development and implementation, inventory and demand planning management. So these are 2 guys working together. And in the past, I was leading demand planning department with several specialists. And my name is also known for CPFR. CPFR, this is collaborative planning, forecasting, and replenishment process. This is when the company have already a good collaboration inside of the company and is ready already to start collaborative planning outside of the company. And here I mean with the customer, with the key customer, but also with suppliers. Yeah, we have to ensure that the raw material are ready, and we have to make the demand plan as best as possible. That's why we are collaborating with the customers. I'm working also as a freelance lecturer at University of Economics, and my lectures are usually in the field operational business planning. I'm also present at many European and international conferences. Uh, Usually it is SNOP or IBP conferences. And in the most of the cases, I'm speaking, so sharing my knowledge, but sometimes I'm just participating as a guest. Like tomorrow, I'm driving to the next conference and will be just a guest. Let me briefly describe you my way to supply and demand planning, where I get my understanding of the process. So I was working at the company Mercedes-Benz, and I believe there is no need to introduce this company. We all know these beautiful cars are visible in the market. And I was working there in supply chain planning. So this is the company where production, procurement, and supply chain plays a very important role. Otherwise, the cars cannot be built. Then I was working at the company AkzoNobel. AkzoNobel, this is one of the largest paint and color manufacturer. So the company produced the colors for different fields, for the cars, for airspace, for commercial vehicles, for consumer stuff. Like my iPhone is also covered by coating from AkzoNobel, something like that. And this is where my demand planning way has begun. Then I was working at Rubix. Rubix is the largest European supplier, industrial supplier, working with a lot of SKUs. So the company is working with 600,000 SKUs. So this is quite complex business, but with a good segmentation, with a good data transparency, it is even possible to work with such amount of SKUs, items. And now I'm working at Demand Guide. This is a consultancy and helping customer to find their way in demand planning and inventory management. So let's go to the next slide. What we are going to talk to today. So we will start our discussion with what is demand planning, or why demand planning is not forecasting. Then I want to describe you why collaboration is so important here. And the last topic will be how to start your first demand planning meeting. Yeah, because we are collaborating with each other in the meetings. And in the end, you will have the opportunity to ask me something, to ask for clarification, and of course, I hope I can answer you. So, demand planning and forecasting. In many companies, I'm working as a consultancy, as a consultant. I'm seeing that the company just mixing these two terms, and they do not see the difference between that. So demand planning can start with forecast. That's okay. But demand planning is always more than forecast. Because when we are speaking about demand, when we are speaking about forecasting, this is about focusing on external factors. This is about focusing on historical sales data, so what the company already sold in the last 3, 4, 5 or more years, and taking this historical data to predict future demand. On the one hand, this is okay. But on the other hand, this is not enough to work in today's business environment. So you have to take this historical data, which absolutely needed, but you need also to have a look on your resources and your capabilities, because it's good to understand what is your prediction. But if there is no raw material, if the company did not purchase enough stuff, enough item, there is no opportunity to sell. Yeah, if you don't have it in inventory right now on the stock, you cannot sell it tomorrow. That's the problem, and this is the main difference between forecasting and demand planning. So, like forecasting, focusing on external environment, on external factors like historical data, statistical models. Sometimes it takes some macro factors, macroeconomical factors. But demand planning, taking into account also internal capabilities, like what is your resources in your inventory, what is your production capacities. Maybe your machines is already loaded and there is no space for that. If you have any supply chain constraints, if, let's say, you probably remember the story with Suez Channel when the ship was just blocked, and that was this supply chain disruption had a huge impact on total supply chain, on the food chain, or something else, but what is not in the plan and not visible in historical sales. With other words, when we are speaking about demand planning, we have forecast is always there, but we are starting to collaborate with other departments. So it's not just demand planning itself. We are taking responsiveness on of our action, and we can include risk management. So let's go one by one. So collaboration, it is needed. In collaboration, it is needed to build a cross-functional collaboration between different departments to get insight from there and align strategy and operational process. In responsiveness, this is when we can adapt the strategy to the real-time changes. Yeah, it's good to know what we want to achieve, but it always needed to adjust our plan. Otherwise, this adjustment will save costs because the environment is changes, supply chain disruptions are coming every day are visible every day, and we have to be adaptable. And risk management. In the risk management, we can start to talk about vulnerability and opportunity. So, what the company can lose and what the company can win. And this is already a step where in demand planning, we are starting to build risk scenarios through the risk management. So what if scenario number one, what if scenario number two, and what if scenario number three. I have to say it will be enough if the majority of the companies will have at least two scenarios, but usually there is only one, the most probable scenario. But in risk management, it is possible. It is possible to build many ways to be flexible. Yeah, we are doing it to be flexible and to be adaptive to the market changes. And today we are talking about on the first step in demand planning, on the first advantage about collaboration. So in my course, I'm taking into consideration all of them, but today we will have time only for collaboration. So collaboration. What you have to know about collaboration. First of all, there is two types of collaboration. It is horizontal and vertical. Horizontal collaboration, this is cross-functional collaboration between different departments in your company. So it is collaboration between demand planning, sales department, finance, logistic, manufacturing, HR, because you need people, purchasing department, marketing, product management. So this is when all departments are aligned and prepared for what lies ahead. So this collaboration, this cross-functionality allows you to be informed about any changes. And here I mean changes on the market, but also changes in the supply, because it is important to be aware if some raw materials are not available. If they are not available, you have nothing to sell. Yeah. If you have any capacity constraints, maybe your machine is not working anymore, and it will definitely impact your sales, your future sales. So this is a very important step in collaboration when you have horizontal collaboration. But another important collaboration is a vertical collaboration. So this is when middle management have opportunity to talk to executive, to talk to senior management. Because on the horizontal collaboration, you are collaborating most likely about operational stuff, operational topic. But the operational process have to be always aligned with strategy. And that's the point when you are not 100% sure that this action, your decision is aligned with the strategy. You need to involve C-level management, your senior level management, to be informed. Is it aligned with the strategy or not? And this is a good stuff where you can take a decision. And in our days, decision needs to be taken fastly. I want to tell you one example. When I was working at one of the company, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to tell you the name of the company right now. We had a problem. So we had a problem. We didn't have enough raw material, meaning we could not serve all the customers. And at that time, I had to take decision as a demand planning manager how or which companies we have to serve, which clients we have to serve. And in my opinion, we could serve the clients with the highest margin, with the highest profit, because what we are doing, we are earning money. But when I addressed this question to the C-level management, they said they had another opinion, because they have an overview for longer time horizon, and they are selecting the customer looking not only on profitability but also on the business strategy. So what I want to say with the story is, on the operational level, we can have a short time overview, so to cover the next 2 years. But on the C-level overview, they are covering business strategy that can go 5 years in advance, 10 years in advance, and so on. And looking on this perspective, they will take another decision. And this combination between operational stuff and strategy, this is also a part of demand planning. So what we are doing in our job. Another picture of the same slide, you probably know this 4-step of S&OP or IBP, where you have product review, demand review, supply review, executive review. And basically, this is the same view. So this is another structure that brings you to the same communication level. Yeah, it's a structure. Some companies like to have the structure, this monthly review. I'm also basically implementing this process because I think this is an easiest way to understand how it works and why it works. So in product review, you have discussion about future portfolio, about any changes, maybe some items are going out and new items coming in the portfolio. Then you have demand planning review. Demand planning review, this discussion about future sales with such departments like sales, marketing, finance, and that's the play where you can understand the future sales, future pattern, and trend. Then comes to supply review. This is where supply chain can evaluate capacities, inventory levels, and raw material, so any restriction coming from supply. And then it is time for executive review. So basically, this is the time where everyone consolidating their plan. So you are presenting one plan for executive, and that can be a one slide plan. It depends. Why we are doing that? Because we want to have alignment and we want to have a quick decision making. So, and align our decision with the strategy. So far clear? Okay. And this is basically another communication wall. Why we need this collaboration? We are taking basically two sides of the company. One side is demand side or commercial side of the company. Another one is supply side or executional part of the company. So in demand, you have collaboration with such department like finance, customer, sales, marketing. In supply chain, you have communication with logistics, distribution, operation, manufacturing, and procurement. And they are gathering information and meeting each other. And that's the place where we can have discussion to make decision. Yeah. So we are doing it to make a data-based, thoughtful decision. This is all about that. And here I want to tell you another example about forecasting or demand planning in Mercedes-Benz. So already many years ago, demand planning at Mercedes-Benz was built not only just on the sales data. However, the sales data this company was very good. So it was basically they didn't have a lot of they didn't need to forecast, because if the customer in the year 2017 wanted to have any car, they have to go to the shop, apply on the configurator, and wait two years. So most likely it was 2 years to wait until the car will be produced. So, and even at that situation, the company decided to include to the statistical forecast data coming from the sales department, from dealership, and online configurator. So maybe if you already have buy a car, you know how it goes. If you want to buy it online, you are going to the online configurator. You can play a bit with different choices. Which wheels do you want to have? Which seats do you want to have? Everything you can choose the mirrors. So everything what you want. And at that time, company understood that more and more people coming to the online configurator starting to select electric and hybrid car. And it was an ongoing trend. It was very visible ongoing trend for electric and hybrid car. So what the company decided to do, they decided to adjust their manufacturing. So, and in the year 2016, they started to build a new product line on existing plants for hybrid and electric cars. So it was quite a big investment in the process, but the company was like data-driven decision based on data coming from online configurator. Yeah, they understood here is a new trend, here is demand on the market, and they had to adjust their supply chain. Yeah, otherwise there will be I would not say losers, but not the leaders on the market. And what do we see as a result? As a result, we can see beautiful cars visible in the market and still on very high competitive level. Yeah, and that's also a topic what we are discussing in the course. So when it comes to the question how to start, I'm starting to ask this question to my clients when we are starting to build collaboration. I'm starting to ask about strategy what is your strategy goal? What do you want to achieve in 5 years, in 10 years? And what is your operational goal? So maybe strategy is to go on the new market. Then it will be another operational. Um, so it will be one set of operational tasks. If the company goal is to remain a leader of existing market, then it will be another operational task. If the company strategy is to grow the profitability, then it will be third set of operational stuff. So it is very important to understand where the company want to land in 5 years, in 10 years. So what is the strategy? And looking on the strategy, the company can adjust operational tasks. The second one is build the structure and the roadmap. So it is very important to build a strategy in demand planning. And here I mean to select the methodology, to select the KPIs, to combine demand planning KPIs with business strategy. Yeah, for example, how demand planning accuracy impact the profit, how it impact revenue, how it can decrease the cost. So because it's good to have a high level of demand planning accuracy, but it's better to understand why it is so high and how does it impact profit, revenue, costs, and so on. And build the roadmap. Yeah, what is the next step? What will be first, second, third step, and so on. And the third step is to organize the pre-meetings. And I would say this is the most important part, yeah, or the most negotiated part. So sometimes people just forgetting about that, or don't do it, or they're thinking it is not so important in the starting process, in the implementation process. But from my experience, I can say this is very important stuff that can do more work before the process is starting. And the last step is just do it. So start to running meetings, otherwise it will never working. And here I want to make a deep dive in the topic of pre-meeting, because as said, some companies just forgetting about that or simply not doing that. So pre-meeting. What you have to do, you have to schedule a pre-meeting to discuss, first of all, benefits. Yeah. So like, who need to be involved in demand planning? First of all, this is sales department. And that will be a first discussion about demand planning. It will be, hey, something like, hey, I'm going to introduce you what we are going to do on next Wednesday. So we will discuss that and that and that. And we are doing this because we are thinking about decreasing the cost. We want to decrease the cost, or you have another explanation for that. So we are doing that because, and you will be, there's also the benefits for you, for your department. Like, as better we can plan, as sooner we can get the items in the inventory, in the warehouses, so better you can sell. Yeah. Like, sales manager cannot sell if it is not in inventory right now or at the right time. So we are doing it to improve our process, to improve our sales, and so on. And this is already a step when demand planner can introduce a bit demand planning process. Yeah, like, oh, on Wednesday, we are going to discuss the forecast and the future prediction. This is how it looks like, and just a few minutes to spend on introduction, what will be done. This is needed because when people have more understanding what's going on, more understanding what will be discussed, they are starting to build a trust. Yeah, you are giving a lot of transparency of the process, and this is the most important at them in the transformation. So if you are in the change management, you probably know how important is to split the light, yeah, to introduce something, to decrease the level of resistance, because no one likes the changes, and this transparency can break this wall of resistance. Yeah. So what you can do also is to share the agenda in advance and share relevant data. Like we will discuss this agenda, we will discuss the forecast, we will discuss demand plan. And the aim here is to ensure that all teams or both teams come prepared to the next meeting. Basically, this is already first demand planning meeting, but you are not discussing the numbers here. It's just about discussing the core elements and preparing a person for the process. And when this person will join a demand planning meeting, the first demand planning meeting, and it can be discussion with sales separately, with marketing separately, with finance. So when they are joining the first demand planning meeting, this is like a meeting for a handshaking. Yeah, they are already prepared, they are already involved in the process, but they are coming to make a handshaking, yeah, to discuss what needs to be discussed, like the sales trend and any changes in the market. Okay, so I have usually question, okay, like we organize the demand planning, but where we have to start? And here's where demand planning work is requirable. So you have to select granularity, what is the needed discussion level of your product group. It can be family level, category level, business unit level. So I don't know. So it will be selected on the right discussion level. I'm not a fan of discussion on SKU level. So if it is 10 SKUs in the company, yeah, maybe it is okay, but usually it's more than 10. And here is needed to select a thoughtful level that will be suitable for everyone involved in the process. Because sales want to discuss, for example, on the higher level, then supply chain want to go drop down to SKU level. So it depends. It still needs to be selected a needed level of discussion. Then, of course, time bucket. Do you want to discuss it monthly, weekly, quarterly? So it depends. And geographical segmentation. Is it every location, or maybe on national level, or on a geographical group like Asia, Africa, Europe, so on. And the second step, this is where you have to select the methodology. This is where you have to select the time bucket for frozen zone and the lag. So how many months in advance you have to start demand planning. Let me explain it. So if I'm doing demand plan for tomorrow, it probably doesn't make sense because I cannot influence anything. What's the reason for that? I can sell tomorrow what I have already in the stock. I'm starting to do my demand plan as from the time when I can influence everything. As from the time when I can influence something, and the question is, as from which time is it? 1 month, not once, I can adjust the supply chain. So not to work from the capacities I have right now, but already adjusted to have impact. And this is usually very sensitive question. It depends from the company, it depends from the operational cycle, it depends from the product life cycle. So it depends. It goes from 1 month to 1 year usually. So it's very sensitive stuff. Who need to be involved in demand planning review? So collaboration is starting at least with demand planning and sales department. It is usually needed to involve marketing department, especially when we are talking about retailers, because retailers, they're not producing something if they have some online shop and they are adjusting their marketing strategy. So marketing needs to be also there to give their input to the future sales, about future sales. Why do we need finance? We need finance because we have our demand plan. Demand plan is not only in quantity, in pieces, units, kilograms, liters, but also in revenue and margin. Yeah, because we are communicating this plan to the executives. Executives don't want to discuss quantities, liters, on something else. They want to discuss costs, margin, revenue. That is why we are including finance, because in finance they have their planning. It's called about budget. And I don't want to have my demand plan and the margin with high deviation between them. It is all right if there is deviation, but this deviation should be small as possible. Or at least if there is a huge deviation, there should be an explanation why here's an deviation. Like we are losing some market share or we are losing some customers. So the explanation should be always there. And customer service, customer service as a sales department, they're always in touch with the market, with the customers, and can give good insights from their perspective. And when we are discussing the topic how to start, I'm also sharing this agenda. This is only example. It should be adjusted from company to company, but maybe it will give you a short introduction of the meeting. So in demand planning, we are discussing first of all meeting objectives like hello and why we are here. Then we are looking on price performance, like last time we have the forecast, and let's see how good our forecast was, because it is very important to understand where we are with our forecasting. Then we are discussing updates, market insights. So let's go to our forecast and discuss what are the changes on the market. How do we discuss it? We have usually the forecast, and here is the site where we are discussing statistical forecast, so based purely on historical sales. But it's very short discussion. And then adjustment, exception. This is the place where the collaboration comes in. Because, the statistical forecast is one side, but the company can lose customer, can win customer. The company can have a lot of customers in the pipeline, so they are not a customer yet, but they are going to be in 1 year or 2 year. So, and this is already a place where demand planner have to be informed about changes. Yeah, like we have 200 customers in the pipeline. Which of these customer will be our future customer in our portfolio? Which one we have to include? On which state you are with, or sales are with this customer? Is it already on the stage of signing contract, or is it just making a sales proposal? So here's everything what needs to be discussed, because this information is crucial. So nowadays the market are changing, and purely relying on statistical forecast, I don't want to say stupid. It's not beneficial. Yeah, you need to be aware of everything what's happening on the market, or discussing with marketing, like for example, every year you have Happy New Year marketing campaign, but every time it is a new items in. Like last year it was items from product group A, and this year it will be a product group B. So marketing campaign is the same, but the product are different. So it is also a place to discuss inventory, supply chain constraints. So a discussion about warehouse, about some supply chain changes, because marketing and sales should be aware about what's happening across the company. So it is a very good place to share the information, to make the people informed and aligned. And so 7-8, that's the time to finish a meeting. So it's about what action needs to be planned, what are the next steps, and then the open topics or questions. So, and last stuff what I want to present today is trust. Because when we are starting to talk about collaboration, it is not possible to build a good collaboration without trust. And for me, trust is not about emotion or feelings. This is a clear strategy how to build this trustful collaboration. So for me, it is a combination, and maybe it is not only for me. I approved this several times on the practice. For me, this is a strategy. How to build it? You have strategy for building transparency, or I have a strategy. I have a strategy to build collaboration inside of the company and outside of the company, with supplier, with your customers, and how to build the confidence. It is important to have the confidence not only on result, but also on work, on input from every person involved in the process. So everyone have to understand how their role is on contributing on total goal, on strategy, how they can affect the strategy. And this build the confidence in the strategy and in the own role. And so trust and demand planning. This is a cost-saving ingredient. So in the book Speed of Trust from Stephen Covey, he's saying that if trust is high, then in the company you will have lower cost and higher speed. What does it mean? If the departments, if the people are trusting the process, they trust the data they are working with, they don't spend the time on validation and checking and discussing the numbers. They just focus on their work and business adaptation. They are focusing on how to adapt to changes on the market. And this speed, when they increase in the speed of their work, is crucial in today's fast business environment. This speed in taking decision can make difference between success or failure. And this is not only the word. I remember how I was working in the company during the COVID. So we already built a good, trustful collaboration between departments before COVID, and during the COVID, we were prepared because we could have a very fast decision-making steps, very good decision-making based on data, and in the end, the company during the COVID time remain on the same level as it was before, even higher. So it's not a miracle, it is really working. So this flexibility, this speed is really crucial in the world where the market changes are faster than it's ever thought. Okay, so and the last slide is about confidence, collaboration, and transparency. So why do we need collaboration? We need to sit people together. We want to build a clear transparency in the process, and we want to be reliable. Yeah, we want to have reliability across all departments involved in the process and executive. So we are moving from the left-hand side picture to the right-hand side, where we have one plan and everyone is aligned and involved in this plan. And the last but not least, why the company need more demand planning instead of forecasting. So demand plan is starting about a discussion what's going to be happen, what are the changes, what we should know, what we didn't know. And forecasting, so how it looks like. So I have seen it in purchasing department. So the purchaser, when he is preparing to discussion with supplier, he's just taking the numbers from the last years. Like last year, we sold 100 pieces of some stuff. Why do not take the same amount for the next year? On the one side, it's doable. Why not? On the other side, without collaboration, how it works for sales manager. Sales manager having a pressure by the end of the year because he have to reach the number, he have to reach the goals, and the inventory management says we have so much stuff in inventory, you have to sell it. What he is doing, he is starting to make some marketing campaign by the end of the year, selling the products because whatever it costs, the inventory costs are higher. So they're taking this stuff from inventory, and next year the same story. So because procurement department, they have seen, okay, this item is sold, so it will be sold this year again. Why not repeat the same story? The problem is that in this story, he didn't ask salesperson, Of course, this story is very mm, extreme. So it's extreme story. It's not working for every SKU. It's only several SKUs are working like that. I hope so, at least. Um, but this is a picture visible in many companies, and I think that you have another stories for that. That is why at some place it is needed to switch from forecast, just purely looking on historical sales data, and involve demand planning and collaboration. So, and here are five reasons why we need to involve it. We need to involve it because we have market changes all the time, every year. We have promotion and events. And what you have in the promotion last year uh, doesn't mean you will have the same items in the promotion this year. You have new products, you have old products, some products are coming out, new products coming in, and this needs to be reflected. We have economical shocks, so unexpected events from different countries that can affect the total supply chain, the global supply chain. And we have channel shifts. So some items was in e-commerce, or you have shifts in the geography, or something else. Or you can just adjust the structure and relocate your customer from one structure to another. So demand is all the time changing, and the data you're working with needs to be reflected correctly. That's why, unfortunately, it's not working like that. What we sold last year, it will be what we are selling this year. Maybe just in a simulation, but in fact, not really. And that's all what I wanted to say to you today. I will stop recording and you can ask the question.